Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of our online interview series here at Commodity TV. And we want to get an update today from Skyharbour Resources, and Jordan Trimble, the CEO, is here with us. And the company is also featured in our new uranium SRC special report. Yeah, Jordan, good morning to Canada. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Good to catch up with you.
Yeah, great. And thanks for having and taking the time, of course. And obviously, I would say this is a big day for uranium companies worldwide, because the European Parliament just ratified the uranium taxonomy, that you are CO2 friendly, that you are one of the best generation systems. Nuclear is one of the best things to really generate power, like wind or solar. They are, I would say, in the same ranking. So well done, I would say.
Yeah, no, it's very topical. Finally, it's been ratified, voted down the objection, so it's now official, if you will, that nuclear is in the EU taxonomy for sustainable finance. This really opens up the possibility for billions of euros to come in from ESG investors for nuclear energy in Europe, and so it's big news. And really, it's one of several many positive developments really over the last 6 to 12 months. If we want to talk a little bit about a snapshot of where we're at with the market right now. We've talked about this at length in previous interviews, but just to rehash some of the the positive developments in the supply demand fundamentals underpinning this metal. You've got a major primary mine supply deficit that's formed here. You've got about 190 million pounds of annual demand expected this year, and that's in the backdrop of about 140 to 145 million pounds of primary mine supply. So we've talked at length about that. Previously, you've had financial entities like Sprott, Yellowcake, and some producers and developers come in and further tighten the market. So that's led to a price increase over the last year and a half. And I think we're still very much in the early innings. On the demand side, look, you've got growing demand. We talked about it offline, over 440 operable reactors, hundreds more in the pipeline, over 50 under construction. But you've also got the advent of these new small modular reactors, and I really don't think that that's getting enough airtime. I think that that's going to be a significant new source of demand going forward as countries.
Do you know how much those SMRs need in a load? Do you know that?
Yeah, well, look, a number of these designs for these SMRs include a fairly significant initial load of uranium to get them started, and so the initial contracts that you'll see to get these reactors fueled will be quite significant, and so you will see, I think, a surprise to the upside with most of the demand forecasts that you see currently. So that's something to keep an eye on. Many countries, again, as they work to decarbonize and work towards carbon neutrality, especially in the West, I think these SMRs are going to play a significant role over the next 10 to 20 years. And then when you look on the supply side, I mean, we've seen this major supply side response play out. Obviously, in the last 6 months with the conflict in Ukraine, we're seeing this bifurcation in the market, especially on the supply side, particular with enrichment. But we will see that trickle down to the U3O8 market. We've seen the prices for enrichment and conversion increase significantly. Again, I think you're going to see that spill over into the U3O8 market in a matter of weeks or months here. So bottom line is the stage is being set for, I think, another leg higher in this market. We are seeing, good news after good news, and I really do think it's just a matter of time before we see that U3O8 price really break out.
Definitely. Yeah, and I saw also, I think it was 2 weeks ago, that the CGN Mining in China did a 3-year contract for 3.12 million pounds of uranium at $61.48 per pound. That is significantly high, because the spot price was at that time 0.47. And today we are 50.51. So I think this could be an inflection point, right?
Yeah, no, look, this new contracting cycle is underway, and we've been talking about this for years. We're finally seeing meaningful new contracts being signed, in that case over $60 a pound. As you probably recall, earlier in the year, Cameco announced some major new contracts. They had contracted 40 million pounds of material in January alone, another 70 million pounds in the prior year. So we are starting to see this new procurement cycle come into its own. It's been a bit quieter once the invasion happened, but I do think that utilities, especially Western utilities, they're in a position right now where they really have to look at their contract portfolio and where they're going to sign these contracts. And I really do think it will be a boon to Western producers and uranium companies, especially as Western utilities are carving out Russia, if you will, and in certain parts of the East, and we'll have to rely more on Western mining companies.
Definitely. Okay, super. Let's come to your terrific mining company. And I found something here. It's from the 19th May, but I think this is really significant because you secured an option to acquire an initial 51% and probably up to 100% of the Russell Lake Uranium Project from Rio Tinto in the Athabasca Basin. Wow. How did you come on that? I mean, to deal with Rio Tinto, that's like a royal thing, I would say.
It took a while to negotiate and to get the deal done. Rio doesn't typically deal with smaller cap companies. And it was a project, Russell Lake, a project that our geological team had in their crosshairs for a number of years. It is adjacent to our existing flagship Moore Lake project. So it's important to note the significance in the strategic location of the project. It's a big property, over 73,000 hectares, and really the heart of the eastern side of the Athabasca Basin. Adjacent to the east of Russell Lake is, again, our Moore Lake project. So there's a lot of operational synergies. We'll likely co-advance both these projects as almost a co-flagship project going forward. To the west of Russell Lake is Denison's flagship Wheeler project. The Phoenix deposit's just a few kilometers from the property boundary. As you're well aware, Denison's a large strategic and corporate shareholder of Skyharbour. We have a very close working relationship with the Denison team. And then to the north, you have McArthur River, one of the richest and largest uranium mines in the world. And to the south, you got Key Lake. And then the road that accesses or services McArthur River runs up through the western claims of Russell. And there's a power line there. And we also inherit a 40-person state-of-the-art exploration camp that was built there. So it's a major transaction for us, a significant acquisition, a very manageable initial 51% earn-in. We do have a pathway to acquire 100% of the project ultimately. There's been a fair bit of historical exploration. It's a big property area. It's important to note that there's many tens of kilometers of prospective conductors in target areas, but there has been some historical drilling, high grade, multi-percent U3O8 in some of these historical drill holes. So we truly believe we can go in there and we can unlock further value. We think there is a major large uranium deposit on the project that we can go and we can discover. We've got some new ideas. We're going to test some new geological models and ideas that we have. Really hasn't seen a lot of drilling or exploration in the last decade. So we're going to go in with some new modern techniques and methodologies, and we think we can work on a new high-grade discovery.
Yeah, because that would be my next question exactly. Historical exploration was 95,000 meters on 220 holes. I mean, normally you would think that looks like Swiss cheese, but that was probably done in the last, 30, 40 years, right?
Yeah, look, it was carried out. Most of that drilling was carried out decades ago. And it's important to note, 73,000 hectare project. It's,
quite big.
Very much not like Swiss cheese. It's a big property. The way I view it, and I think the important point here is that it gives us a lot of drill data. It gives us a big data set to look at. And again, it's a number of these drill holes are mineralized. They have high grade mineralization in them. If you look at some of the recent discoveries that have been made in the Athabasca Basin, it's companies that have gone into these historic projects that have had a fair bit of drilling and historical work and have gone back and tested some new ideas, and they've made major discoveries. And that's what we think we can do here at Russell Lake. Just a quick note too, Rio will become a large shareholder of Skyharbour. They will be a strategic partner one of now 3 larger strategic partners that we have. I mentioned Denison, but we also have Orano, France's largest nuclear fuel cycle and uranium mining company, as a project partner at Preston. So it's a big vote of confidence for a smaller cap company like Skyharbour. And last but not least, as I mentioned, it is adjacent to Moore Lake. This has been our flagship. For the last 5.5, 6 years, we've been actively advancing this project. We've delivered high-grade results, in particular, more recently, high-grade numbers in these underlying basement rocks, which we talked about in the last interview, 6.8% over 2 meters. We just completed 2,500 meters of drilling, assays pending. So keep an eye out for that additional news flow. That's an important near-term catalyst for the company. And we also have another, call it 10,000 meters or so of drilling from partner companies that have recently been completed with assays pending. So a lot of near-term news flow for the company.
Okay, super. I see also that you have to fund 5.7 million Canadian dollars in exploration on the project in that first step. As you said, you will issue 3.5 million shares to Rio Tinto, or to a sister company. What extent do you think Rio Tinto will be then a shareholder? Will be like in the order of 5 to 10% then? And do you have the money to do that all?
Yeah, so look, we're funded right now. The initial phase of drilling that we're going to be completing later this year, early next year on Russell Lake is a $2 million program. We'll have details announced on that in news releases forthcoming. We're fully funded. We've got approximately $5 million in the treasury. Keep in mind, too, that we do have cash and stock that come in from partner companies. So we've got 5 partner companies, 2 joint venture partners, one in Orano, one in Azincourt at our East Preston project. They just completed a drill program there with assays pending. And then we have 3 active option partners. So these companies include Valor, Madero, and Basin Uranium Corp. And these companies are actively earning in at a few of our other projects. They're funding all the exploration and drilling at these various projects, and we get cash payments and stock issuances from them over the coming years. So we do get additional funding from these partner companies going forward. But as I mentioned, it's a very manageable initial 51% earn-in in some cash and stock. And then the net amount to us is just over, it's about 5.1 million when you back out the 10% operator fee.
Okay, super. As you just mentioned, Basin Uranium, they announced also the completion of the phase 1 drilling at the Mann Lake Uranium Project, as you are a partner with them. So maybe you can say some sentence on this.
Yeah, no. So we announced the transaction, the option agreement with them late last year. They raised a bunch of flow through money, and they've been very active in advancing the project. Did a little bit of work earlier in the year, and this has led into this initial phase 1 of drilling, which they've just completed, assays pending. There was radioactivity, notably there was radioactivity in some of the drill core, which is significant. They were also intersecting fairly encouraging alteration and structure. So they're into the right rocks here. We will wait to see what the final assay numbers come back as, but they do have plans as well for a phase 2 program later this year, between 3,000 to 3,500 meters. So we're quite pleased with the progress that they've made at Mann Lake. It's a project that we did a little bit of work on years ago, but really just didn't have the bandwidth to properly explore it. And so Basin Uranium's done a fantastic job thus far.
Okay, super. Last but not least, you started also a airborne gravity geophysical survey at the South Falcon Point Uranium Project. What's going on there? Because I think that's maybe not the real core thing like with Rio Tinto now, but also important for you.
Yeah, no, look, it's Moore Lake and obviously now Russell are core projects. South Falcon I would consider a core project as well, but second to those projects, it's 100% owned. It does host an NI 43-101 inferred resource, uranium resource right at surface. So we as we announced a few weeks ago, decided that it made sense to go in and do some groundwork, do some geophysical surveys. We really want to get the project ready for either a drill program coming up or a new partner or partner companies to come in on and take the reins and advance it. So that's what this program is designed to do. It's an advanced stage exploration project. It's got a lot of prospective target areas outside of the main deposit, which is open along strike and at depth. We did a little bit of drilling there back in 2015 and discovered some higher grade mineralization below the current resource. So it is expandable. But we're just weighing our options right now on how we want to go from here with the project. We have had interest from potential partners on it, so do keep an eye out for potential news flow on new partners coming in.
Oh, okay, super. So then last question, most important upcoming catalysts with the company. What would you say for the next 3-4 months?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Look, it's a very catalyst-rich story. As I mentioned earlier, we have about 12,500 meters of drill core with assays pending, including a program we carried out at Moore Lake. Keep an eye out for additional drill programs and news flow from exploration that we carry out at Moore and Russell. As I mentioned, we are planning an initial 5,000 to 6,000 meter, $2 million drill program at Russell. As I said, we'll co-advance Russell and Moore. There's a lot of operational synergies given that they're adjoining projects. Our partner companies are all planning exploration programs in the next 6 to 12 months at the various projects. Keep an eye out, as I mentioned, for additional new partner companies to come in at some of our other 100% owned projects. And last but not least, the uranium market. We talked about this earlier in the interview, but as we see that price continue to tick higher, I do think we will see the price of the equities recover. Obviously, we've seen a pullback across the board. I've been actively purchasing shares in the market. I think there's I think it's really the best value proposition that the company's ever offered investors, given the current valuation, given where it's traded over the last year, and given what we have going on with the company. Yeah, look, it's I think a great time to look at entering the story, and you can see where I'm putting my money. And there's no lack of news flow and catalysts over the coming 6 to 12 months.
Super, perfect. Jordan, thank you very much for the insight. And I like it that you put your money where your mouth is, because that's exactly how it should be for a CEO and also the management. And yeah, I think with the uranium looks good. Your company looks great. I mean, working with Rio Tinto is an outstanding ownership, I would say, and a big sign of trust and confidence. So I would suggest you keep us flooding with good news, and let's hope that the markets as a whole get better.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's great chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jordan. All the best. Yeah,
thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Jordan Trimble, the CEO of Skyharbour Resources, and you heard it. They did a great deal with Rio Tinto, can earn up to 100%. And I must say, really a small junior in hyphens, of course, but really dealing with such a multinational, one of the largest resource companies or commodity companies in the world, and miners. That is really a big thing, because they must be really convinced. And the company has the money for step one. That is great. But as you heard, also future financing is also looks really good, because there is more and more coming in from diverse interests. And uranium looks great. The European Parliament did the taxonomy today on uranium. And so I think this could be the next inflection point after the one we saw with the contracting in China. So keep an eye on nuclear, keep an eye on U308, but also please on Skyharbour Resources. Thanks for watching us, and bye-bye from Switzerland.